Hi everyone, this is Mick Awesome Crazy, and I'm here to give you guys a little bit of a story. So I've actually worked in customer service for, oh goodness gracious, probably about 4 or 5 years of my life now. I've actually worked at many places, usually involving Orange. I'm not going to name specific locations. I've worked in retail, like a box retail store that usually has to deal with hardware, so you can imagine what it may have been. It was a very large chain. And I also work in customer service. Right now, I actually work at a call center making damn good money, so I work there. So if you ever wonder why the videos aren't coming out anymore, that is probably the reason. But I'm actually, now that I'm settled in my job, I do want to make sure I do start getting out some new videos to you guys, bringing some new content, and seeing what I do have available for you. But I am going to tell you some of my customer service stories now. The first story I do want to go over, you guys. The main thing about it is that it's actually about, so this is when I was working on the night team. So I actually worked around 9 p.m. to 6 a.m. So I was also in college at the time, but it was like during the summer, so I was off college. And so I actually was a part of gardening, making sure that our mulch and everything like that was stacked up to the most appropriate means. And guess what? And the next year, I actually helped lead the team. Now, the first thing I want to let you know is that this is actually a story. So there was a guy. So this big old dude, he wasn't actually a manager or anything like that. I guess he was technically a supervisor. So he was kind of like my boss, but he wasn't my direct boss. Okay. And he's actually a really heavy set guy. So he's not like he's fat or anything like that, but he was heavy set. So he's probably about 300 pounds, 6'3", large beer belly and kind of things. He was just like, and he was just kind of very bow-legged, kind of the way he walked, and he kind of walked out with his stomach like pecked out. I'll try to draw that for you. I'm also gonna be drawing this stuff as I go along to see if I can do it. I know I don't have a really great drawing skills, so whatever, we're gonna try. So this big old bow-legged guy, so he actually comes up to me. He's like, Ryan. Actually, you know what? I wish he actually said that. No, what he actually said was, "Hey, Kyle." He used to call me Kyle. My name is not Kyle. Incidentally, that is my older brother's name, but my name is Ryan, and that's the best way to describe. If you're gonna say something to me, I prefer if you actually use my real name. But he never did, and he knew me for probably about 2.5 years as I worked there at that time. He knew me for a while, and he still didn't know my name. So sometimes he'd call me Ryan. Most of the time he'd call me Kyle or some other variation of some names that I have no clue how the hell he came up with, but he wouldn't call me my name. So first thing that pissed me off, but it didn't piss me off enough to actually give a shit. So the one thing I want to let you know is that so one night he decides, he's like, "Hey Kyle, I need you to do some things for me. There are some things that need to be unloaded from receiving." Okay, so receiving's where the trucks come in. He's like, "Well, you have to go around back and use a forklift to take them out and bring them into the garden center." I'm like, "Okay, standard stuff. I used to drive forklifts and stuff like that." So I was like, "Okay, cool. Give me something to do for a couple hours while I'm here dying miserably of darkness." But that was actually pretty funny. But one of the things, what happened was I couldn't do it. And the reason why is I actually drove around the building, got over to the forklift, got into there. I go into the back. I'm trying to pick up. So it actually was like a tractor in a crate. Not like a tractor you see in farms and stuff like that, but like a lawnmower, basically. And what happened was that basically I couldn't get it underneath. I couldn't just get underneath it with the forks, right? So I'm just keep plowing into it, plowing into it. He's looking at me like, "Oh, you having issues?" I'm like, "Yeah, yeah, yeah." So I'm actually not able to get this. I'm actually like, "No, no, okay, I'm not able to get this at all. I cannot get this." He's like, "Well, I got it, I got it." So the man, big man, just remember this. He is a big man. Big, big. And he jumps onto the forklift seat, and all of a sudden we start hearing psst. Now, just to let you know a little backstory, forklifts, at least where I worked, were running off propane tanks. So a sound like that is very scary to anyone who's on a forklift because we don't want to blow up and anyone around the forklift. So I'm like, "Oh shit, I better get the fuck out of here." But then I started realizing what it was. So it wasn't actually the propane tank. The big old fat man, I know I said he wasn't fat, but let's just say he was, because he was. And the big old fat man jumped onto the forklift. When he did, there happened to be a spray paint can. Don't ask me why. We actually okay, I guess there would be a reason. We actually did mark pallets. So of stuff, we actually used a spray paint can to actually mark what they were on it, just so we know what the hell we're putting up in the overheads and stuff. Um, so there was a spray paint can found its way underneath the seat. He jumped on the scene. All of a sudden, we hear psh. Like I said, we were looking around thinking it was like the propane tank. So we're like, "Oh shit." This man crushed a whole can of spray, a full ass can of spray paint, and it got fucking everywhere. Have you ever seen just a big old man just sit onto a seat and the whole freaking forklift stand? Now this thing weighs like 4 fucking tons. The whole thing fucking shook. I swear the earth started quaking when this motherfucker sat on that seat. So I was not surprised anything broke. But when it did, it just started spraying everywhere, and we're like, okay. When we look under the seat, all of a sudden, it's just black fucking spray paint every goddamn where on the back of that fucking forklift. We're looking all over the place like, what the fuck did you just do? I'm like choking, making sure I'm not laughing at his ass, because I'm like, oh my god, this is the funniest fucking thing ever. Because the way he was looking, this big old headed man, looking like the like fucking baby face from Toy Story. That was his face. I'm not even kidding. He looked like that. He fucking just obliterated that fucking spray paint can. He obliterated that shit. And like it was spearing everywhere, fucking everywhere, violently. And for like 15 seconds, I'm holding my breath because I'm trying not to laugh my ass off because I'm freaking congested with the onset of menopause from fucking holding in that laugh so hard. And what happened was he jumps off the forklift, like, what the fuck? He's like, ugh. So he gets all angry. So he freaking just like, what the fuck are we doing? So he did not clean up the fucking mess. He made me do it. But the forklift was permanently stained with black spray paint, and the motherfucker couldn't even get the fucking things out. At the end of the day, he tried again. He's like, getting his angry noises. And yep, that is a story about how a supervisor broke a can of spray paint with his fat ass that was under his seat. And I swear to Jesus that if it was not the funniest thing I've ever seen in my life, I would be lying, because it was hilarious. Just imagine Babyface just like looking around all directions like a fucking owl, trying to figure out what the fuck the noise was about. It would explode him into a million pieces. Okay, so that's just one story of my customer service experiences, but I'm going to try to make like a little series out of this. Let's see what I can do. I'm actually, like I said, I'm going to be drawing a lot of this stuff. I may be like putting pictures and shit like that, so to make it a little bit easier, because again, my drawings are not going to display shit, so we're going to try it. So I thank you guys for listening, and I do hope you guys have a great rest of your night. Fear the hermit crab, I guess.